Welcome back to Cards and Comics. Today I have part 4 or sub 4 of my PSA submissions. This is my biggest submission in terms of numbers, but these were the cheapest value cards I sent in. Now there's a lot of King Griffey cards in here, and there's a lot of some modern and just things jumbled in here. But so this order took the longest because it was the slowest. It is also the cheapest. Now, there's some things in here. It's the good, the bad, and the ugly. Some things I'm really disappointed in, and some things I'm sort of happy with. But honestly, I didn't feel like I got anything. Usually when you sub this many cards, you get, let's say, 1 or 2 cards that graded above what you thought it would grade. And then you get a few that grade under. In this case, I probably only had 1 card that I thought graded a little bit above what I thought it would. Everything else was either at or below, and it's just not as good of a mail day as I hoped it was, or submission as I hoped it would. So a little disappointed in this one. And I'm gonna have to think about some strategies here with PSA and how they're grading certain cards. So we'll get right into it. Oh man, moving cards around. Here we go. Let's see what we can do. So we'll start here with my first big brain fart card. And this is totally me. This is PSA didn't do this. But, didn't mess this up. This is a card I sent in, this SPX Radiance, which is numbered to 100. You see it right there, numbered 40 out of 100. And they came back recolored, and I'm like, well, what happened? Like, what's going on? And then you look at the card and see if we can focus. Come on. Right there. Did you see it? It's recolored. Well, I didn't see it because I'm just stupid. Honestly, I don't know what I was thinking. I should have sent the card back, and now it's too late with the return policy. I don't know. I just missed it. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought maybe it was just damage to the card, and the card has got weird, like colored, straight. I don't know. I just didn't think it through very well. I should have just seen that. So that's just me being dumb. So that's not PSA making a mistake. That's just me not being great at selecting cards to send in for a PSA order. Now we'll go start here. Card number 1, just a card I picked up, I think on Whatnot, just going through, when these guys just have tons of these raw cards, and I picked it up. I thought pretty good price, under eBay pricing, and then I sent it in for grading. Came back at 9. So yeah, it's the Chrome Update Sapphire. Not a huge card right now price wise, but it's solid. And again, he's sort of having turned it around a little bit, not having the greatest sophomore season, but he's got a lot of potential still. So glad to get that one, at least in a 9. It's now here's another card that I don't know what happened. I gotta really look at this card. I don't know if it got damaged on the way, or I'm still trying to find it. Maybe it's on the back here. I don't know. But this card is a Kale McCarr Allure Purple Auto, and it's numbered out of 10. That's why I sent it in. But it came back a 5. So this has to have a crease somewhere in it, or else it just wouldn't grade a 5. And the only thing I see right now is on the back here. I don't know if you can. Maybe I'm trying to find it again. And it's right here. So right there, do you see that little line that comes across? So I don't know what that is. I got to look at that, probably outside the holder, to see what it is. This card's a beautiful looking card. And I was shocked because this card came directly from Check Out My Cards, CMC. This was a EPAC card. And my grading on EPAC cards has been very, very good. I've got lots of 10s, a lot of 9s. So for one to come back at 5 just seems odd to me, because that's why I sent it in, because I've had such good success rate with EPAC cards. So I don't know. Do you see that little line pop up again? Yeah, right there. And I don't know if it's in the holder. Right there. Do you see it? So I got to check it out. I don't know what's going on with this card, but came back at 5. So right there, 2 out of 3 cards. The Griffey recolored and the 5. When I opened the order, I was like, oh my God, this is just started out really horribly. Next up, again, I'm going to go through these hockey cards really quick, because again, these are EPAC cards for the most part. So Kaprizov, Arctic Freeze. These are numbered out of 99, so it's a nice card. Kaprizov. Came back a 9. Next up, again, we'll go through some of these fast. These are Jason Robertson rookie cards. These are the base. So I got 110, 19, 2 9s. So Young Guns, Robertson, 110 and 2 9s. Generally, if you send in multiples, that's sort of kind of how you do. I did send the canvas in and got an 8, so there you go. Each canvas is usually grade better than the regular card, so who would have thought that? It's just grading right now. Stutzla, not. I was hoping at least 110 on these two, so I got both 9s. So again, that's why it's a little disappointing. I was hoping for at least 110. Again, these all came directly from the check out my cards now. But the Kaprizovs graded a lot better than everything else. Both Kaprizovs graded both a 10. And again, what I'm telling you is that all these came from EPAC, and so they're all pretty much from the same source and handled the exact same way. So it's just, a little disappointing to see, a lot of 9s and 8s on cards that are pretty much the same. Next up was one of the actual surprises. So I had, I think, 2 cards that I think really, I thought surprised me. This card surprised me because of how the card came when I bought it. It came in a really scratched up, beat up holder. And so I just thought the card itself. And then when I opened it up, the card didn't pop as much to me, but I mean, it was in a dirty sleeve. So when I put it in the actual soft sleeve to send it, it looked nicer. And so I'm glad it came back at 9. This is the Pinnacle 97 Barry Sanders Certified Team Gold. These are just like striking cards. I mean, now there's obviously the parallel to this, which is like where it's like a refractor, and that card is one of the most beautiful cards you'll see. And if you just see one in person, that is for anyone who collects these kind of cards, that card is amazing. These cards are nice, but that version is just impressive how nice that one is. So, but this one is, a great card and graded 9. So I'm very happy to add this to my Barry Sanders PC. Next up was, again, a card I was a little disappointed in. This is the 98 Finest Refractor with coating. Came back in 8. So I have multiple of these cards. As I collected Griffey, I was really refractor focused. So I have this card already graded in a 9. And so I had this card raw. I thought it looked pretty nice. Came back an 8. Obviously, what everyone's going to tell you is if you peel it and then grade it again, it probably comes back at 9 or better. So, I mean, that's something that I might think about in the future. Now, since I've got one of these already in a 9 with the peel on, it might be worth it just to take the peel off. Taking the peel off of those cards isn't as easy as you think it is. You can damage the cards, which is why I don't do it. If someone has a technique that they want to share with me on how to do it so they don't damage the card, I've practiced on other cards and I damage about every 3rd card. And I just hate to damage a Griffey card that I don't need to. And even this card in an 8 is still a card that's collectible. And a lot of people will buy a card like this because they know they can peel it and probably get a better grade. So I'd rather just have a card that's not damaged, honestly. This card was one that I was really thinking it. If any card I thought had a shot at a 10 was this card. I looked at this card under every condition, every microscope I could look at, under loop. It was one of those cards I couldn't find a flaw in. I've had it for a while, and it's the 96 Bowman Mirror Image Atomic Refractor. And it's just a beautiful card, and I just thought it would come back at 10, honestly. I already have this card, so it's another thing, too, is this is a double. No, but I had this raw for a long time, and I just thought this card really had a shot. I can't really find anything really wrong with it, just like most 9s. So, I'm sure it's got something in there, but I really looked at the surface. I thought it, was very clean. So, a little disappointed. This is the ones I thought could have graded a 10. I don't really say that a lot about my cards. I think 9 is that's the grade you would want to have for these cards. Like 9's great, 10's better. But I really thought this one had a shot. Of any of the cards I sent in from the 90s, I thought that was the only one that I would have not been surprised came back at 10. Next up is the card I thought would grade lower. So this came back higher than I originally thought it would. So I'm actually shocked this came back an 8. So I'm very happy it came back an 8 because Front wise, this card is like 10 material. Back wise, it has a defect. I don't know if I can get it in. Yeah, you can kind of right there. Do you see it? Right there. It's like a fingernail imprint on the card. There you go. So I thought that, I mean, with how they've been hammering cards lately, I mean, any little thing, it's like a 5 or something, it feels like. I thought that they might give this card all the way down to a 6, based on that little fingernail impression on the card. Now, it's not very deep. It's not like a crease or anything. It's just like where somebody, pressed down on something. It looks like somebody either got pressed down something on the card or hit it, grabbed it like right here and left a fingernail impression in it. They gave it an 8, so I was very shocked. I kind of thought it would get a 7 or a 6. So that's the one card that did come up higher, and it's graded 250 out of 400. Now, just for you guys, for future video purposes, I have just picked up this card in the Atomic Refractor, the numbered out of 100, and it is raw. So that's going to be coming in pretty soon. That's going to get graded. Honestly, so if that comes back an 8 or a 9, that card, is just a great card. It's probably my favorite set of all time, honestly. Looking at my collection and looking at these cards, I think the 99 Bowman's Best set is my favorite set of all time for a lot of reasons. One, I think the refractors are really super duper shiny and look really cool with the etching. And the etching's everywhere, man. It's here, it's everywhere. It's like, just if you like etching on your card, this was sort of the last major set with great etching. In my opinion, it's everywhere. The atomics are cool because of how they did the pattern. It's not the normal superfractor pattern we saw in some sets. It's a different pattern. Just like in 98, there was a different pattern. So it looks really cool. The only year I think they ever did that pattern. So that makes it unique. But just the autographs, and the fact that it's cheap. It's a cheap buy from a box price point standpoint. So I'm going to continue to collect more cards from 90 the set. I got this Atomic coming in. I've got some other cards coming in from this set that I think you'll really enjoy. So, but again, that card surprised me a little bit, so I'm very happy. So it makes up for some of the other cards a little bit. Next up are cards that didn't surprise me. This card came back in 8. It's a die cut, and I've said this over and over with Griffey die cuts, 90s die cuts. It's just really hard to get anything over an 8. If you got a 9 in this card would be, I think, rare for the grade. This is just what happens with these die cuts. They got so much edge wear that can happen. You see that little whiting at top, how the corners, at the edge where it's cut. It's just hard to keep these cards clean. And I was actually afraid they would give this card a 7 because you see how some of those cuts, how the cardboard gets crimped. And that's just the cutting process. It's nothing to do with this card being damaged after the holder. It's how this card was made. So it came back in 8. You can agree or disagree that that's how the card's made, so you shouldn't count off of for it, or the card isn't perfect, because there's some, white showing on the back, or there's like, you can, like right there in that corner right there, you see it where it's crimped down a little bit. So it's one of those, like, everyone can have their own opinion. To me, the card looks really nice. You can see that refractor pattern, that kind of that almost superfractor pattern on it. It's die cut, it's gold, it's foily. It's just a really cool card. This set really is undervalued. If it wasn't so complicated, I think people would love it more. And I think it's getting more popular, honestly. I see these cards selling for more than they used to when I first started buying these cards. Next up is a card that didn't surprise me. It got an 8. It's the 1999 Topps Chrome Griffey Refractor. So this is the last Topps Chrome Griffey base card as a Mariner. This card is just off center left to right. That's just how it is. I picked it up at a pretty good discount. So, I just graded it to have it, so I don't have this card any other way. So it's sort of like in the collection. If I upgrade it at some point, I upgrade it. But yeah, it's just, it is what it is. It's off center a little bit, but it's super shiny and I like the card. So, if I upgrade it, I upgrade it. If I don't, I don't. I'm not in any rush here. I don't have to have a PSA 10 collection of all the Griffey cards. Now, this is an interesting card. This is the 2010, so this is his last card. And he came back to the Mariners before he retired, so his last card is a Mariners card. And I always think it's funny that 2009 and 10 Griffey cards just sell so cheap, because if you think about it, the pre-2000 cards as a Mariner sell for real premiums. But he's a Mariner again before he retires, and these cards all are playing cards. This is not a tribute card, or this is a playing card. It has his actual full stats on the back. You can see his overall stats before he retired, or his his basically his totals there. 630 home runs. I mean, it's just this is his last card. So that it's a great awesome to have this as a refractor. It's actually not badly centered. It's just this card has some scratches on the surface. And again, I got it super cheap, so I just wanted to have this card. And I might upgrade in the future, but it's a card. And again, I think there's color parallels here. So, whereas in earlier sets like this set, like first and last, this is his last, card before he went to the Reds. This is his last card, period. And you can see that there was no color parallels here, and there was here. So just kind of different eras here of cards. Next up is a Donruss Prize Collection, and these are some of my favorite newer cards that I've been collecting. These cards, to me, do rival Topps in terms of refractor goodness. They have etching. They've got just they got that that collections in the background. This is a proc I want to open. Now I've opened a couple packs of it. The thing that shocks me about these cards is how thin they are. They are not thick cards. They don't have the kind of that feel to them that they feel like they would be easy to damage. But this came back at 9. And again, these collection cards are beautiful. Obviously there's the preferred version, the elite version. So this is the Donruss. I believe it is, I think, the easiest one to get of the prize collections. But again, I want to get them all. And this came back at 9. And it was raw. And again, it came in a top loader, and it was, it didn't come in a packaging. It didn't look very special at all until I put it in the sleeve. And I'm like, this card looks really nice. And I looked it over. I cleaned it up a little bit with just with a cloth. And, I actually thought this was another card that had a shot as a 10, honestly. So, and these next two cards, disappointed because they were pulled on my channel. You can see the video. I pulled both of these cards in a box break 99 Topps Gold label. Here is both cards I pulled. It's the Race to Aaron. So it is the base gold here, and it came back at 9. And this is the black label version. So they're both versions. And if you sit here and just kind of look at them, you can see this has got kind of a silver refractory black background. This has got the gold. So this is the base. This is the parallel. There's a red as well. So looks. I mean, they look. I think they're very nice looking cards. I know there's kind of like, they're not parallels, but they're inserts. They look nice. I just was hoping one of them graded 10. Honestly, they're very low pop. I mean, they're not super valuable raw like this. So graded, obviously 10s for these cards would have made some value in them. They're not really super expensive as 9s. So a little disappointed that they came right from a pack to a holder. And I thought I had a shot at, by sending both in, I would get at least one maybe to come through. Non-protector Refractor 98 Finest. I've had this one for a long time. And this has just like, you can almost see it through the holder. It's almost like a film on top of the card that makes it look less shiny than it really is. I mean, if you get in the right light, it looks nice, but if you also can see it in certain light, it looks like it has a film on top. The back is beautiful. I mean, it does have like that double refractor is beautiful. So I've got this card already in a 9. So again, I've had this raw card sitting here for a while, and I like having some doubles. When I go to the National, I'll have some doubles with me now of some cards. I think that would be fun to trade. I've got some doubles that I think will grade well, and that are graded already, and I got some raw ones that I may take with me and get graded or bring with me, and hopefully they can generate some buzz for me at the show, and I'll be able to use them for trade bait. So, but this card is harder to get than you think, and obviously with no protector, it gets damaged a little easier than the other card, with protector. Next up is the Flair Showcase. Came back at 9, and again, I don't, exactly, it's a die cut, so the 9 grade is a good grade for it. A lot of cards, this card isn't as rare as you think, and there's lots of 10s, so it's not a super rare card, but it's a beautiful looking card. A lot of people love this card. And I do too. I think it's been weird. It wasn't in my collection. I thought I actually had this card before. Um, so I bought one raw, graded it, and it came back a 9. And so it's good enough for me. Next up is in the land of disappointment. Again, another autograph card came back a 6. I got to look at it again. I just don't see it. I don't see the damage on this card to make it a 6. I'm going to have to look at it. It just, I don't know. Maybe this corner here. I'm looking at it. I don't know. I can't tell if it's the corner or if it's something. I just got to look at it again. But yeah, it's 6. But the beautiful part of this card is the auto is, just stunning. So bought it for the auto. The card itself graded a 6. So I'll look it over. But this is just one of those cards. But disappointed because I was hoping it was at least a 7 or an 8. I thought it was gonna be an 8. Honestly, when I sent it in. So that's disappointing, but it's great. Got a great auto. Next up is, I think it's a really cool card. It's the 98 Finest Mystery, Frank Thomas and Griffey dual refractor. Beautiful card. Just super shiny and cool. And this card you had to peel, I believe, to get it. The mystery refractor, you had to peel these. So if you get one today, those mysteries are really hard to peel. They are bears to get those off without damaging the card. I've tried on a few, and again, had a pretty high failure rate on getting both off without damaging the card. I came back at 9, and again, I thought this could have had a shot at a 10. So again, when I'm saying shot at 10, I had like 6 or 7 cards in here. I thought I had shots at 10. My thought was like 1 or 2 would be a 10, and none of them became 10. So that's the frustration part, is like when you have like 7 or 8 cards you think could be 10s, potential for 10s, and none of them come back higher than a 10, than a 9. It's a little frustrating because you want at least 1 or 2. Hopefully, you hope 1 or 2 pops through to that grade. This card actually shocked me. So this is the one, again, one of the ones that I think, if it came back an 8, I wouldn't have been shocked. Again, it's the 97 Finest Embossed. These are die cuts, so you can see how intricate those little die cuts are. And it's embossed. You can see the raised surface. So a lot of chances for damage, and this card is not damaged. So I am super stoked. This card came back a 9. I'm actually shocked because I thought this would be an 8 all day long because of all that. Just how they grade these kind of cards. They just are really tough on them. Now, obviously, if this was the refractor version, it would be worth a ton of money. That's one of my top cards to get at the National is either this card, the refractor version, the established, the 98 Bowman's Best Atomic. So I got a few cards that are top my list. So this refractor would be top, but getting the kind of in between version of the card. So you got the base gold, you got the die cut, and then you got the die cut refractor. So this is like tier 2, and having it as a 9 is perfect. This is what I wanted. So I don't have to worry about trying to find this card anymore. So I got the 9. Again, actually was a little surprised on that one. And then last but not least, a card I picked up right before the order, and I just threw it in there. I'm kind of glad I did because it's a beautiful card. It's a 97 Inscriptions Pinnacle Barry Sanders, and this is the artist proof. And these are just beautiful cards. You can just see how that shines, that Dufax, foil all mixed together. It came back a 9. And I think that's a great grade because this card is so easy to damage. These are pretty thin cards, and those Dufax cards do damage very easily. And you got the black here on the bottom. Just a lot of ways for this card to go south. And to come back at 9, beautiful card. And I love artist proofs. So pretty happy that, I threw this in. So there you go. And now, I do have some more cards that need to go to PSA. So I'm putting together another round of orders. I am going to maybe send a few cards to SGC as well. So when I put those orders together, I'll let you know. Because again, I got that Atomic coming in. And I have a few more big raw cards coming in. So when I get that ready, I'll let everyone know. But that's the mail day, the 4th and final mail day. Let me know what you think. My favorite card, honestly, was that Bowman's Best come back in 8. I think that was just one of those cards I was really happy it came back in a grade. And then this 9 here was a really good card for me just to get it in that holder. Again, I thought it was probably going to come back in 8, so surprised on that one too. So let me know what you think, guys. Again, this was the cheaper of the four, but there were some cool cards in here. Some disappointments to be had, but overall, a lot of cards on my PC and a few doubles I'm going to be taking with me to the National. So let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time in Cards and Comics. Bye.